Deep Space Nine. This was a very different type of Star Trek content. Took a little adjusting too, I recall, but it was awesome. Here's my top 10 Deep Space Nine episodes. Welcome to Fantasy for the Ages, the show where a father and son talk about fantasy, science fiction, and other nerdy things we enjoy. Just Jim, the father, here for this episode as I'm bringing to you Deep Space Nine and my top 10 favorite episodes. If you enjoy this, I hope you'll hit the like button. Let me know. And if you haven't done so yet, please subscribe. Zach and I really appreciate all the many subscribers we already have. And those of you still coming to us, come on, take a look. We got a lot of fun content here, and we appreciate your support. Aired from January 1993 to June 1999, 7 seasons, 176 episodes. Man, this was quite the show. And again, as I try to think of a top 10 list, that's so much to draw from. Built heavily on the success of Star Trek The Next Generation, this series adds many unique elements to what we've seen in Star Trek up to this point. Most especially being based upon a space station rather than a ship moving from place to place around the galaxy. There were types of stories now possible that were considerably different than anything we'd seen on Star Trek. I found that Deep Space Nine didn't grab me as much as The Next Generation, nor as much as Star Trek Voyager would when it came out, but that's not due to any flaws in Deep Space Nine. That's maybe just my preference of content, I think. Still, Deep Space Nine, I own it. I love it. It's fantastic. And some of the stories are freaking amazing. And I've got my top 10 to bring to you here today. Of course, with this many episodes, it was nearly impossible to winnow it down to a top 10. At some of the episodes I was choosing to leave off. But there's one I just have to slip in here at anyway, so this is my honorable mention. Call it number 11 if that helps you sleep better. But I've got to talk to you about Emissary, Part 1 and Part 2, which aired January 4th, 1993. This is the 2-part pilot episode of Deep Space Nine. And in this one, Commander Benjamin Sisko takes command of the space station, Deep Space Nine, located near the newly discovered Bajoran wormhole. Sisko encounters the Bajoran prophets, non-linear alien beings who help him confront his past trauma from losing his wife at the Battle of Wolf 359. Recognized then as the Emissary, Sisko bridges the Federation and Bajorans, establishing Deep Space Nine as a key strategic cultural hub in the Alpha Quadrant. Little trivia to toss at you on this one. Emissary is the only time we're going to see the Borg in the entire 7-year run, despite the significant role they play in Sisko's backstory with the loss of his wife. Turns out there was a deal from higher up in Star Trek strategic planning that the Borg and Q off limits. They're being reserved for Star Trek Voyager, which would be coming out soon. Now, let's get to the real top 10, and I've established the format for you here. You're going to see each time the broadcast details for the episode, the summary, just kind of remind you of the awesomeness of why I'm sharing this episode, why it makes my top 10, and then I'll throw some trivia at you, something you may not know about this particular episode. Number 10, Past Tense, Parts 1 and 2. Yep, it's a two-parter. Quite a few of these are two-parters. There's just more than you can fit in a great story in one episode. The summary for this one. Sisko and Bashir find themselves in a sanctuary district where the homeless are confined. Sisko assumes the identity of Gabriel Bell, a pivotal figure in the historic Bell riots, to ensure that history unfolds correctly. Dax works to find them while Sisko and Bashir struggle to survive and to influence the riots to restore the timeline that has inadvertently been messed up. Trivia for this episode. One of these homeless individuals, Grady, is played by the exceptional and unique Clint Howard, a tried and true staple of Star Trek, going all the way back to the original series. However, Iggy Pop, the pop star, was originally approached to play Grady. Alas, he was unavailable due to a music tour in Spain. Yeah, a little hard to commute for the filming. Showrunner Ira Stephen Bear, a fan of Iggy Pop's work, pushed him to be cast for a role in the series. And while this one didn't work out, eventually he's going to come along and have the role of Yulgrun in The Magnificent Ferengi 3 years later. Number 9, Call to Arms, Season 5, Episode 26, June 16th, 1997. Tensions escalate as the Dominion prepares to invade the Alpha Quadrant. To prevent reinforcements, Captain Sisko mines the entrance to the Bajoran wormhole. The Dominion retaliates, and a fierce battle ensues. Facing overwhelming odds, Sisko orders the evacuation of Deep Space Nine, which leaves the station under Dominion control. The episode sets the stage for the Dominion War as we end Season 5, marks a turning point in the series, and some great content to come in Season 6. Trivia for this episode: producing shows like this, especially big episodes with battle scenes like this one, can be quite expensive. And the crew will learn to cut corners and save some pennies anywhere they can. So a great example comes in this episode. Many of the shots of Deep Space Nine readying and firing weapons is reused footage from Season 4, Episode 1, The Way of the Warrior. They simply replaced the Klingon ships when they were seen, now with Cardassian and Dominion ships. You don't even notice. Number 8, Improbable Cause and The Die is Cast. So a two-part, really, even though they don't share a name this time. Season 3, Episodes 20 and 21 from April 24th and May 1st, 1995. Summary: to kick off this two-part episode, Garrick's shop is bombed, leading Odo to investigate, as he would. They uncover a plot involving the Obsidian Order and the Tal Shiar, who plan to destroy the Founder's homeworld. Garrick joins the mission, revealing his complex loyalties. The fleet is ambushed by the Founders, revealing it was a trap. As Garrick grapples with his past, the episode explores themes of loyalty, betrayal, and the shifting nature of alliances. Some trivia: the events of this two-part episode are pivotal to much of the rest of the series run. The Changelings' threat that the Klingons and the Federation would not long stand in the Dominion's way, for example, foreshadows that in Season 4, much of the season is going to focus on the Dominion-engineered conflict between the Klingons and the Federation. Also, the destruction of the Obsidian Order in this episode weakens the entire Cardassian Empire, which leads to their alliance with the Dominion in Season 5, and that takeover of the space station at the Season 5 finale, which then leads us into this whole war with the Dominion throughout Season 6. Number 7, What You Leave Behind, Parts 1 and 2. This is Season 7, Episodes 25 and 26, both dropping May 31st, 1999, the series finale. The Dominion War reaches its climax in this episode as Sisko leads the Federation alliance to victory. Odo persuades the Founder leader to surrender by offering to cure her disease. Dukat and Kai Wynn unleash the Pa-Wraiths, resulting in a final confrontation with Sisko. Sisko sacrifices himself to defeat Dukat and joins the Prophets. The episode concludes with emotional farewells as the crew members embark on new journeys, reflecting on their legacy. Nothing like a series finale. Is it the strongest that Deep Space Nine has? Certainly not. That's why it's only number 7 on my list. And yet, it's a conclusion. And it's very satisfying. Trivia for this one: While not the final scene of the show, the final scene actually filmed, so the final scene of all Deep Space Nine that is filmed is when Quark and Vic are playing Go Fish, because there's nothing else to do. Get it? There literally was nothing else to do filming raps with that scene. I love it. Number 6, The Way of the Warrior, Season 4, Episode 1, October 2nd, 1995. In this Season 4 premiere, the Deep Space Nine station faces a new threat as the Klingon Empire breaks its alliance with the Federation. Fan favorite Worf is assigned to Deep Space Nine to help deal with the situation. The Klingons, led by General Martok, attack Cardassia, suspecting Dominion infiltration. Sisko and the crew defend the station, leading to intense battles. Worf ultimately decides to stay on Deep Space Nine, bringing his experience and strength to the team amidst growing tensions. The addition of Worf to Deep Space Nine was an epic choice, and it added even further depth and complexity to Deep Space Nine. The trivia here, there's a root beer scene in this episode, something that takes place primarily between Quark and Garrick, and it was written at the last minute because once filming was pretty much over, scheduled filming, they figured they were still a couple minutes short for the episode. They needed one more scene, so they real quick wrote this up and threw it in. Then, once all the effects were complete for the battle scenes, they actually came in a little long and needed to trim. So the root beer scene almost ended up on the cutting room floor. Obviously, it made it in, and now is remembered as one of the best examples in the Star Trek canon of humans through alien eyes. Okay, we're to the top 5 now, and we got some big episodes here. Number 5 is Sacrifice of Angels, Season 6, Episode 6, first airing November 3rd, 1997. This is an interesting one. This is the conclusion of a 6-episode arc that starts Season 6. So while I'm highlighting Sacrifice of Angels, it's up here because it rests on top of episodes 1 through 5. This 6-episode arc resulted from the loss of Deep Space Nine to the Dominion at the end of Season 5. Now this episode, here the Federation launches a desperate mission to retake Deep Space Nine from Dominion control. As Captain Sisko leads the fleet, Kira and the Resistance work to sabotage Dominion operations on the station. During the climactic battle, the Prophets intervene, making the Dominion fleet vanish to save Bajor. Sisko's forces successfully reclaim Deep Space Nine, marking a crucial turning point in the Dominion War. For trivia, as with many popular shows, Star Trek Deep Space Nine has been translated to many other languages, released in many other nations. The German title for this episode comes through rather differently. Sieg oder Niederlage, which translates as victory or defeat. Number 4, Far Beyond the Stars, Season 6, Episode 13, airing February 9th, 1998. In this episode, Captain Sisko experiences visions of 1950s Earth, where he is Benny Russell, a black science fiction writer. Benny faces racism and struggles to publish a story about a black space station captain. Who'd believe such a thing, though? He's really struggling to get this out there. Despite his perseverance, the story is rejected, and Benny has a breakdown. The episode highlights racial issues and the power of hope and storytelling, leaving Sisko deeply affected by the connection between his life and Benny's. Trivia: Avery Brooks, the actor portraying Captain Sisko, he also serves as the director of this episode. While cast members would direct episodes from time to time for Star Trek, the various different franchises, they rarely did so when their character had a primary role and lots of action on screen. It's simply too much to manage. In this case, though, producers decided that really only an African-American director could fully grasp the themes here. So Avery Brooks got the nod. seem to have worked out. Number 3, Trials and Tribulations. Season 5, Episode 6, November 4th, 1996. One of the most entertaining episodes in the whole series. In this special episode, the crew is sent back in time to the original USS Enterprise during their episode, The Trouble with Tribbles. Disguised as 23rd century Starfleet officers, Sisko and his people are there to investigate a plot to alter history. They navigate the whimsical chaos of the past while ensuring the timeline remains intact. This homage to the original series blends humor, nostalgia, and clever storytelling with a time-traveling twist, and it's just delightful to watch. Trivia here, and I actually have 2 pieces for you. First of all the sets and props seen in the episode were specially made recreations. None of this stuff had been saved. No easy task to make all of this stuff either. Many of the fabrics, the paints, other materials that were used in the 1960s to create the set, the look, no longer existed in the 1990s. Remaking these to match the original appearance turned out to be quite expensive, but so effective. My second trivia nugget is that the only original costumes used in the episode were 4 Klingon uniforms. The Deep Space Nine cast and crew were highly amused to discover that a simple Velcro strip served as the Fierce Warrior's uniform belt, and the large belt buckle was just bubble wrap painted in gold, backed by cardboard, and stuck to the Velcro belt. That's it. Number 2, The Visitor. Season 4, Episode 2, October 9th, 1995. In this emotionally impactful episode, Captain Sisko is seemingly lost in a time travel accident. His son Jake goes on to spend decades trying to bring him back, find a way to get his father back from this tragic accident that occurred. He sacrifices his own life and relationships, throwing himself fully in, trying to bring his dad back. Their bond transcends time, showcasing Jake's unwavering love and determination. When Sisko returns briefly, Jake must let him go to restore the timeline. The episode explores themes of love, loss, and the enduring power of family. Little trivia for you here. Actor Tony Todd, who powerfully and exceptionally portrays adult Jake Sisko in this episode, is far better known for playing and voicing villainous or intimidating characters, such as the horror movie character Candyman, a movie and role that I totally enjoy. But it was nice to see such versatility on display. Okay, let's conclude this baby with number 1, In the Pale Moonlight, Season 6, Episode 19, appearing April 13th, 1998. In this pivotal episode, Captain Sisko collaborates with Garrick, the former Cardassian spy, to bring the Romulans into the Dominion War on the side of the Federation. Sisko wrestles with moral dilemmas here and a staged assassination attempt. He's got to be intentionally deceitful, going against what his inner code would normally allow. Despite the ethical cost, the scheme does succeed, which shifts the war's tide. Sisko struggles with his choices, highlighting the complexities of war, loyalty, and personal sacrifice in times of crisis. Not only was this episode a key component of Deep Space Nine's overall story arc, it also lended a heavier air of gravitas than had been seen on any previous episode. Trivia for you here: when the writers decided to have the Dominion conquer a Federation planet, they wanted it to be an established world, something we'd recognize. They kicked around some ideas before settling on a final 2. Beta Z, which is of course the one they went with, or Vulcan. They decided not to go with Vulcan because that would be too serious. So, Beta Z, sorry, you're just not as important. Okay, that's what you have, my top 10 list. I'd love to hear what you think of it, which episodes you would have included that I didn't put in here. which ones you totally agree with. What are your favorite Deep Space Nine episodes? Throw them in here. Tell me why. Let's talk some more. Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll talk to you next time.